So welcome to our special service today. In our Buddhist tradition, the teacher-student relationship is very important, and so we honor our teachers. Today, we are honoring the life of Venerable Samu, who is the founder of this temple, the founder of all of the temples of the Buddhist Society for Compassionate Wisdom. He was born March 3rd, 1941, and he passed away 1 year ago today on August 6th, 2022. Our service will be officiated by Venerable Sunim, who is one of his direct students.
Please stand for the chanting of the refuges. Yes, I know Korean first, in keeping with our tradition, which comes from the mountain monasteries of South Korea. And then they will have English version. The English translation of those words is very beautiful. Could you please say them aloud, Helen, and the rest of us will follow. What do you want this time? Oh, okay.
With my utmost heart, I make devotions.
With my utmost heart, I make devotions
To the eternally existent assembly of Buddhas.
to the eternally existent assembly of Buddhas,
Of the past, of the present, and of the future.
of the past, of the present, and of the future,
Throughout the 10 directions.
throughout the 10 directions,
As countless as the lands and seas in Indra's jeweled net.
as countless as the lands and seas of Indra's jeweled net.
With my utmost heart, I make devotions.
With my utmost heart, I make devotions
To all of the dharmas eternally existent.
to all the dharmas eternally existent,
Of the past, of the present, and of the future.
of the past, of the present, and of the future,
Throughout the 10 directions.
throughout the 10 directions,
As countless as the lands and seas in Indra's jeweled net.
as countless as the lands and seas of Indra's jeweled net.
With my utmost heart, I make devotions.
With my utmost heart, I make devotions
To all of the sanghas eternally existent.
to all the sanghas eternally existent,
Of the past, of the present, and of the future.
of the past, of the present, and of the future,
Throughout the 10 directions.
throughout the 10 directions,
As countless as the lands and seas in Indra's jeweled net.
as countless as the lands and seas of Indra's jeweled net.
And for our special services, it's customary to do 3 times for each of the jewels. And so Jagwa is going to sing a special version composed by one of our former drama teachers.
my trust in the Buddha, and I resolve that with all beings I will realize the great way, and I will cultivate a garden where the Buddha seed may forever thrive. And I will grow a heart of enlightenment. I put my trust in the Dharma, and I resolve that with all beings I will penetrate sutra treasures, and I will pass through Dharma gates beyond all measure, uncovering wisdom as vast as the ocean. I put my trust in the Sangha, my brothers and sisters in times of need, and I resolve that nothing will impede our gentle walk to a world that's free, liberated society. I put my trust in these jewels three, perfect and complete right now inside of me, each moment. And I resolve that with all beings I will dedicate each moment to their realization in this lifetime. Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, in this lifetime.
One of our Buddhist ancestors, Leonard Cohen, had some verses which we often remember. Ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There's a crack in everything. That's how the love gets in. The next part of our service for Venerable Samu Sunim, after the refuges, is repentance and spirit of purification. So we may go forward with our Let's go. And there's three parts. One is the last part like how Yun has memorized the baths, 10 directions off the bath. And one is the right now, just here, get our work done part. And the third is a beautiful mantra which you can learn to tune and vibrate in the direction of life. So let's start with the more mundane one. I ask you to please repeat after me. Bringing your hands together in Hachong. Bringing together into being one. All evil actions committed by me.
All evil actions committed by me
Since time immemorial.
since time immemorial,
Stemming from greed, anger, and ignorance.
stemming from greed, anger, and ignorance,
Arising from body, speech, and mind.
arising from body, speech, and mind.
I now repent.
I now repent,
Having committed.
having committed
And the transcendent mountains of guilt piled up over many lifetimes.
mountains of guilt piled up over many lifetimes,
Completely wiped out with single thought.
completely wiped out with single thought,
Just like fire would burn dry hay.
just like fire would burn dry hay,
Utterly destroyed and no remainder.
utterly destroyed and no remainder.
Without selfhood, guilt comes from mind.
Without selfhood, guilt comes from mind.
If mind disappears,
If mind disappears,
guilt too loses itself.
guilt too loses itself.
This is called true repentance.
This is called true repentance.
In our tradition, our Buddhist tradition, and what Venerable Samu Sunim almost always said in every one of his talks, you are Buddha, here and now. And every day is a fine day. In other words, the opportunity for transformation, realizing my Buddhahood. So this is the repentance mantra. And turn so that you can see a good mind. So I'm going to do it once so that you get the idea of how to do each one. It's like bringing the sound vibration to our very essence. So the first one. Om. Feel the vibration in your whole body, your very essence. Om. Salva. Say after me. And remember your whole body vibrating so that you're bringing sound from deep within. And this sabaha is the same word that we find in other parts of Buddhism. Sabaha. So be it. So, together now. Om. So after the clearing and the purification of repentance, then we rededicate ourselves by the precepts, our ethical guidelines. And these particular ones led to us by Magamat are the 10 brave Bodhisattva precepts. So please again bring your hands together. Fully present, please repeat after Magamat.
10 Bodhisattva precepts.
10 Bodhisattva precepts.
Do not harm, but cherish all life.
Do not harm, but cherish all life.
If you violate this precept, you will destroy your seed of compassion.
If you violate this precept, you will destroy your seed of compassion.
Therefore, you will not be able to go forth on the Bodhisattva path.
Therefore, you will not be able to go forth on the Bodhisattva path.
Let's turn the spirit of this around a little bit. Magamat. So, I will not harm, but will cherish all life.
I will not harm, but will cherish all life.
By nurturing this precept,
By nurturing this precept,
I will cultivate my seed of compassion
I will cultivate my seed of compassion
and be able to go forth on the Bodhisattva path.
and be able to go forth on the Bodhisattva path.
I will not take what is not given,
I will not take what is not given,
but respect the things of others.
but respect the things of others.
By nurturing this precept, I will cultivate my seed of virtue.
By nurturing this precept, I will cultivate my seed of virtue.
Therefore, I will be able to go forth on the Bodhisattva path.
Therefore, I will be able to go forth on the Bodhisattva path.
I will not engage in sexual misconduct,
I will not engage in sexual misconduct,
but practice purity of mind and self-restraint.
but practice purity of mind and self-restraint.
By nurturing this precept, I will cultivate my seed of purity.
By nurturing this precept, I will cultivate my seed of purity.
Therefore, I will be able to go forth on the Bodhisattva path.
Therefore, I will be able to go forth on the Bodhisattva path.
I will not lie, but speak the truth.
I will not lie, but speak the truth.
By nurturing this precept, I will cultivate my seed of truth.
By nurturing this precept, I will cultivate my seed of truth.
Therefore, I will be able to go forth on the Bodhisattva path.
Therefore, I will be able to go forth on bodhisattva path.
I will not involve myself in the trade of liquors and drugs,
I will not involve myself in the trade of liquors and drugs,
which confuse or weaken the mind,
which confuse or weaken the mind.
but I will keep my mind calm and clear.
But I will keep my mind calm and clear.
By nurturing this precept, I will cultivate my seed of wisdom.
By nurturing this precept, I will cultivate my seed of wisdom.
Therefore, I will be able to go forth on the bodhisattva path.
Therefore, I will be able to go forth on the bodhisattva path.
I will not speak of the misdeeds of others,
I will not speak of the misdeeds of others,
but try to understand them with sympathy.
but try to understand them with sympathy.
By nurturing this precept, I will cultivate my seed of friendship.
By nurturing this precept, I will cultivate my seed of friendship.
Therefore, I will be able to go forth on the bodhisattva path.
Therefore, I will be able to go forth on the bodhisattva path.
I will not praise myself nor condemn others.
I will not praise myself nor condemn others.
By nurturing this precept, I will cultivate my seed of respect.
By nurturing this precept, I will cultivate my seed of respect.
Therefore, I will be able to go forth on the bodhisattva path.
Therefore, I will be able to go forth on the bodhisattva path.
I will not withhold my aid, material or spiritual,
I will not withhold my aid, material or spiritual,
but give freely of myself wherever there is need.
but give freely of myself wherever there is need.
By nurturing this precept, I will cultivate my seed of wealth and generosity.
By nurturing this precept, I will cultivate my seed of wealth and generosity.
Therefore, I will be able to go forth on the bodhisattva path.
Therefore, I will be able to go forth on the bodhisattva path.
I will not get angry, but be forgiven.
I will not get angry, but be forgiven.
By nurturing this precept, I will cultivate my seed of happiness.
By nurturing this precept, I will cultivate my seed of happiness.
Therefore, I will be able to go forth on the bodhisattva path.
Therefore, I will be able to go forth on the bodhisattva path.
I will not revile the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, but uphold them.
I will not revile the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, but uphold them.
By nurturing this precept, I will cultivate my seed of faith.
By nurturing this precept, I will cultivate my seed of faith.
Therefore, I will be able to go forth on the bodhisattva path.
Therefore, I will be able to go forth on the bodhisattva path.
Please stand. We will now together do 9 prostrations toward the middle from Sunim. Without whom none of us would be here. An appreciation of his being our ancestor, our Dharma ancestor, perhaps one of several. So we will, and if you need to do standing bow or kneeling bow, it is the essence of your just being fully present with each prostration that is important. So we will say when we're kneeling down and bending our bodies, Samu Sunim. So first making bow together. and slowly. Samu, Sunim. 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 Then we go just one more time, the present. I know you say this, Samu. We want to do look at my. So when you turn in this direction to Jijeon Hotel, one of our bodhisattvas, and we're going to do some chanting on behalf of our appreciation for the teachings we have received through this temple and through our teachers and from Samu Sunim. So it goes Jijeon Hotel. So Jijeon Hotel is the bodhisattva of great love who is willing to go wherever, even to hell, to help transform suffering.
Reading from the Diamond Sutra. Thus have I heard. At one time, the Buddha was staying at Anatha Pandika's garden in the Jeta Grove in the city of Shravasti. With him was a large gathering of 1,250 monks and Bodhisattva Mahasattvas. Early in the morning, when the mealtime came, the Buddha put on his robe and, holding his bowl, entered the great city of Shravasti, where he begs for food. Having finished begging from door to door, he came back to his own seat in the garden and took his meal. When this was done, he put away his robe and bowl, washed his feet, spread his seat, and sat down, mindfully fixing his attention in front of him.
This sutta, sutta is an important one in our Korean tradition. And so Magamot begins at the beginning of the sutra and goes through at the end.
Again, Subhuti, the son or daughter of a good family were to pile up the 7 precious treasures in all the 3,000 imperial cabins and gives them away as a gift to the Tathagata, the Arhats, and the fully enlightened ones. And on the other hand, if someone were to take but one stanza from the Varachitaktika Prajnaparamita and bear it in mind, teach it, recite and study it, and illuminate it in full detail for others, his or her merit would be much more immeasurable and incalculable than that of the former. And in what spirit would he or she illuminate it for others, without being caught up in the appearances of things in themselves, but understanding the nature of things just as they are. Why? Because you should view all of the fleeting world, a star at dawn, a bubble in a stream, a flash of lightning in a summer cloud, a flickering lamp, a phantom, and a dream. When the Buddha had finished speaking, Venerable Subhuti, the monks and nuns, the pious laymen and women, the bodhisattvas, and the whole world with its gods, asuras, and avaras, were filled with joy at the teaching, and taking it to heart, they went their separate ways.
And now from the Zen Lotus Society Handbook, formerly the Zen Lotus Society was the name of our Buddhist Society for Compassion and Wisdom. We have readings from Sunim's first experience and last experience in the monastery before he came here to North America. Hayan will read about his first entry and about the end of his time in Korea.
In 1958, he began his novitiate at Namjangsa Monastery at the foot of a mountain in the district of Songju in the North Gyeongsang province. In this remote mountain monastery, where tradition showed a sign of slow decline, Sunim submitted to the rigorous novice training for 3 years. The day of a novice monk began at 2:30 a.m. and ended at 10 p.m. In the following pages, Sunim recounts his training. The day in the monastery formally began at 3 a.m. when the duty monk or a young novice played his mukpak, the wooden gong, breaking the early morning silence, and started reciting the great Compassion Dharani. The day ended at 9 p.m. when the night bell sounded for lights out. We novice monks, however, had to get up half an hour earlier to prepare the Buddha hall for the morning devotions. And we had to stay up an hour later to study the beginner's manual and the handbook for monks. Each and every day was full, long, and a hard day. Because of the workload, we never had enough time for our study, so we recited aloud our assignments and committed them to memory while working in the kitchen or running errands. I felt tired and even dozed occasionally, but I never felt dull or grew tired of my training. We were living in a different world. Worldly thoughts and feelings seldom entered our minds. Our lives flowed according to nature's daily and monthly cycle. Like when we went down to the mountain stream early every morning to wash ourselves in the running stream that ceaselessly flowed. At night, we would retire and fall asleep listening to the sound of water flowing by. We flowed with the changing seasons too. In spring and summer, we climbed mountains and gathered edible wild plants and herbs. We parboiled what the temple could not immediately consume and dried them in the shade for the winter. In fall, we pickled persimmons, which we peeled and dried. We helped Sunim, the female devotees, make kimchi and boil soybeans to make soybean malt for miso. Kimchi is pickled cabbage and radish, which provides much needed vitamin C during the cold winter season.
Not long after I entered Komasa, I was admitted to the Zen meditation hall, which had a sign off limits to outsiders. The Zen master was Sobong Sunim, 1890 to 1969, who became my Dharma master. When I first greeted Sobong Sunim in the Fresh Wind Hall, the main meditation hall, in a tea ceremony, introducing a new student to the master and senior students of the hall, I felt as if I had inadvertently entered a tiger's cave. The silent and expressionless Zen monks who sat around facing me were frightening to one never exposed to such a situation before. But more frightening were the two staring eyes of the master, who resembled an old tiger crouched in his cave. However, I was soon to find out that these silent monks were wonderful people. Few distracting thoughts troubled them. Like children whose minds were constantly occupied with the thought of their mother, the minds of the Zen monks were always occupied with their wives' study.
I made 3 vows to Sobong Sunim and left. As I was walking away from Sobong Sunim's quarters, I decided to lead the rest of my life as if I had not been born into this world. However, a series of events forced me to leave the country in the early winter of 1965. I sought Sobong Sunim at Somansa in Busan before I left the country. I found him sweeping the fallen leaves in the backyard. I made 3 vows on the ground. We looked at each other in silence. I finally told him that I had to leave the country and asked for his instruction on my spiritual practice. He understood my situation and kept silence for a while. Then he said, "It will be another 10 years before you begin to mature. Take care of yourself in the world. Cultivation in the midst of worldly activities is a true cultivation. Even though you got enlightened in the mountains, You have to be tried in the marketplace. Spend your days like an empty boat, floating leisurely in the water. Live your life like an old gimlet, the sharp edge of which has worn out and fallen out of use. Be at one with all situations, and flow like a river ceaselessly with no wind. After 10 years, do a solo retreat for 3 years before you teach people. Take care of Dharma and realize the way of a bodhisattva. He said no more. I made 3 vows. When I realized that these might be my last vows to him, tears came to my eyes. Hiding my tears, I made my final vow. Solbang Sunim walked with me toward the gate. At the gate, I made another vow and looked at him for the last time. This was our last meeting in this lifespan. He stood there with a bamboo broom in his hand and silently watched me go away. I always remembered Solbang Sunim the way I saw him last. Over the years, it served me as a permanent image of a Zen person and pointed to the way.
Forwarding now to Toronto. It was in the basement apartment on Markham Street in Toronto in the winter of 1974 that I began my 3-year solo retreat. After experiencing a number of worldly troubles and suffering a serious illness and 2 operations, it seemed I had come to the end of my worldly journey, as Solbang Sun had predicted. The basement apartment in Toronto was radically different from a mountain monastery, in Korea, or from the meditation hut in the traditional setting. But it was quiet and isolated from the outside by way of 3 doors which led to the underground apartments. It was also cold and damp and occasionally flooded when there was a heavy rain. One summer, a large garden snake made its way into my basement after swallowing up a few mice and made the place look like a rural retreat for a short while.
I did a series of fasts lasting 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, and 10 days. I sat up and did meditation for long hours. Then I walked around slowly. Peace and clarity prevailed in the midst of daily routine. For nearly 10 years, I lived in the turmoil of events. It was training in the marketplace of the world. And the events were my Dharma teachers. Now the days, months, and seasons followed each other quietly. I lived uneventfully.
We have this book in our library, so if you are interested to hear the rest of this, the middle between what Hayun read and Amin, you would be welcome to borrow the book. I will fill in a few cracks, things that I remember. When he left Korea, he stowed away in a boat. He was escaping the Korean War, and a sea captain agreed to have him and went to Japan and lived in a monastery there. And while he was in that monastery, he would go, I believe, to Tokyo to the American Club. And it was the time of the Vietnam War. So he met soldiers from Vietnam who were on R&R. And one of them offered him a plane ticket to come to America, North America, to New York City specifically. And so Sunim took him up on that and went first to San Francisco And then he went across to New York. And the story, lots of things happened. He started a little meditation group in New York City while he was working because he was not supported by Hosonims and other Buddhist people. And he worked for the United Parcel Service at night. Then he had come to the US without proper ID. And so it was necessary for him to go to Canada. And he went disguised as a skier, go skiing around Valmarin, Quebec. And there started a little center, got married to a Canadian woman, and had 2 children, a son and a daughter. He then got tuberculosis. That was how he said, was mentioned that he had 2 surgeries. And so he eventually left his wife and children when he moved to Toronto. And eventually that's where I met him in Toronto, and eventually he came to the US, and we were in an apartment down the street, about 6 blocks on the other side of Packard. We were in student housing, and during the summertime, we were in one of the members' house, and then we found our original temple building and moved in there. And we had a guest come when we were moved into the yellow building. It was gray then, or green actually. It's been had many transformations. And soon invited a person for tea at the building, and so this person came. And Sunim wanted to pay his gratitude. It just happened to be the representative for this area for the state government. His name was Harry Bullard. And he was quite a well-liked congressman at the time. So we ended up with the temple here, and he had been supported to come all this way by this American soldier who eventually was the representative here. So it's quite a coincidence in a sense. Then so many things happened so that we started a temple in Chicago, moved to a different temple in Toronto, started a temple in Mexico, and eventually he started a temple in New York City because he always felt that he would go back to New York City because that's where he had landed in the States in the beginning. Over this time, not only was he threw himself into renovation, even though he didn't know much about renovation, he was always saving building materials so that they could be not thrown away. He always wanted to keep everything under the dumpster. And he worked hard with all of us. He believed that we should all volunteer to build these temples. At the same time, he was quite a writer for an orphan in Korea who had not really even graduated from high school or going to college. And we began to write what's called Spring Wind, Buddhist cultural journal. And this particular one, Women in Buddhism, has become a text in Women in Buddhism courses at colleges across this country now, because he's a wonderful researcher, and his own story with his mother is in this particular volume. And we have about 15 of these volumes if you're interested. They're fascinating to read because it's about the development of Buddhism in this country, especially in this area in the Buddhist society. He was a character. He loved to sing opera and was good. He had a wonderful voice. And so at nights, after a whole day of renovation, we were always trying to get the meditation room finished so we could finally meditate and not do so much renovation. But we would sit around in the dining room table, which was a low one, and he would sing these opera songs and tell us story after story after story. We loved it. Sometimes we would have ice cream. We were really poor in those days, and when we ate that ice cream, each of us just took, you know how you can take a spoon with a bowl of ice cream and get the last bit and trace a kind of design in the bowl with those last bits? We used to do that. It was a thing, poverty in those days was really precious to us. And Sunim, besides singing opera to us, and he, being such a storyteller, he had a real feeling for Indigenous people. And this was in Canada, so we often went to powwows. So all of us would get in our rickety old van. I remember having my daughter in diapers with us and we would go a couple of times to the States and then a couple of times in Canada to these powwows and really dance and have a wonderful time together. And then back to the renovation. And once he let me drive with this van, and everybody was in the back on the floor, no seatbelts in those days or seats. And he said, "Stop the car, Suka." So I did. He said, "You're not driving well. You're throwing all the rest of us in the back around. So please, somebody else take over the driving." And of course, I remember that even now when I'm driving, that it affects everybody in the car. So I have to be more mindful. That was nice. He was just tireless in his efforts. I could sit here for 2 or 3 days or maybe even weeks because we had a 42-year-old relationship. And it wasn't always easy. I value him as the kind of most wonderful person in my life, mainly because he was such a straight talker. He told me what nobody else would tell me. You know? And I said to him once here, "Is there anything ever good about me?" And he said, "There's a tremendous amount that's good about you, Suka. It's the other stuff that you need to work on." That's what you get from me. Etc., etc., etc. Bodhi Svaha. There's a lot of information on our website. Please have a look at it and learn more about Sunim and this organization which he's created. To see the focus which he envisioned is really inspiring. www.zenbuddhisttemple.org. And finally, he wrote the Song of Meditation, which is a beautiful piece of liturgy which we recite every Wednesday evening at practice. So let's do that together. We'll get some feeling for his Dharma in these verses.
We do not have enough copies, so perhaps every other person can take them.
Elvis is going to read us standard in these liturgy books, moving because all of our special verses that we use before you, if you're interested, to get page number
15.
Say when we hold like kachang. because about bringing things to light. Let's go, Mom.
Song of meditation. Sit still, rest. You're one with all beings sentient. Rocks, trees, mountains, rivers, clouds, sky. Breathe, concentrate. You're one with all beings sentient. Birds, animals, insects, worms, fish, humans. Arise from meditation with live body and meditation light. Streets, workplace, markets, travels our Dharma realms. Why would your tool contain the single eye of wisdom? Its light comes from sincere heart and unknowing mind. Non-self, boundless heart, and first mind. The three ingredients in unknowing mind. Unknowing mind is a splendid world of infantile brilliance. Be a little dumb, pure, and innocent to enter this world, so you may cry without bitterness, laugh like the morning sun. Like Dharma rain, water embedded with unknowing mind, soaks your daily activities. Tears flow from skyscrapers, wooden men rise to dance, and flowers bloom on highway signs. We song of Shiva reminds you, enlightenment is instantly present in the mind of the beginner. Birth, death, and nirvana are always in harmony. Seeking or attaining enlightenment is the complete of meditation practice. If such thoughts occur, wake up from ignorance, frightened as if swallowing poison. Each time you sit, you are a new beginner. The presence of awakened heart in the first mind is vast and infinite. There is no birth, no death, and no nirvana. Repent to surrender yourself if you have obstacles. Bow and perform prostrations if you have doubts. Do constant practice, stretch in this moment if you lose beginner's mind. Here is a song for your everyday Dharma life. Meditation is knowing yourself. Knowing yourself is setting yourself free from delusions. Setting yourself free from delusions is becoming one with what is. Becoming one with what is enjoying formless life every day. Enjoying formless life is seeing yourself everywhere in happiness and sorrow. Serve all beings as Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. Protect water, soil, and clean air. Praise the way of Buddha. Samu.
Sitting. Please repeat after me before great vows. All beings, one body.
All beings, one body.
I vow to liberate.
I vow to liberate.
Blind passions, one root.
Blind passions, one root.
I vow to terminate.
I vow to terminate.
Dharma gates, one mind.
Dharma gates, one mind.
I vow to penetrate.
I vow to penetrate.
The great way of Buddha.
The great way of Buddha.
I vow to realize.
I vow to realize.
Ellen is going to offer announcements for us this morning.
Thank you. If you guys want to start moving the flyers up this way, it's good. Collecting at the end here. Sorry, it is a little bit later than we usually hold the services, about 11:40, so I'll try to keep it brief. We have a bunch of new sign-up sheets out here in the lobby, which you can see when you go out, including things like signing up for emails from the temple every week. Let's see. It's still August, so things are a bit slow still, but in September, a lot of things are starting. For example, we have intro meditation classes on the 7th. Those are 5 weeks of Thursdays. And there's also an overnight session the week following. Excuse me. Let's see. We have yoga classes beginning. Thanks. Also in September on Tuesdays. We also have a special Ulumbana Day service. Jagwa mentioned last week. I don't know. Do you have a few words you might say?
Ulumbana Day is a special ritual we offer once a year, and there's some preparation involved. This is a ritual around being able to share your heart with someone who may have died, or that you may be estranged from, or have no other way to communicate with. And so this is an honoring ritual for that relationship. And if you're interested, we have a sign-up sheet, and we can talk to you after the service.
Thank you. I can also fill in for Iljon here. He's starting to lead the Recovery Dharma next door, which begins at noon in the library in the Yellow Historical Temple building. And Magamuk also has something. Oh, wait. First Mountain has something.
There is a one-day retreat next Saturday, August 12th, from 9 to 5. So please come and join.
Thank you.
And one of the nice ways to connect with other people in the Sangha is to do some work together and talk. And so there's 2 ways that you can do that today for about 15 minutes, starting now. One is right downstairs. We're going to be rearranging some boxes and other items. The floor was recently cleaned there, and so all the things were moved to the side, and we're just going to be moving them back into position. So if you'd like to do that for about 15 minutes, starting right at the end of the service, instead of coming out of this door, you can go through that door, turn left and go down the stairs. Maybe about 4 or 5 of us can work down there, and we'll get everything moved. And then the second thing is outside, and Han can talk about that.
Well, during that, it's taking a bucket, sudsy water, and washing those tables out there.
Yeah.
So I would appreciate if there are some 4 or 5 people who would like to dig in. They just came back from Peace Camp, so they just need a nice little scrubbing before they're downstairs. And so we'll give you soapy water and sponge, and you can go in.
And please leave all the mats and cushions in place today. As a result of Peace Camp, we need to launder all the cushion covers, and so helps us keep track of what we've done and what we've not done, if they just stay where they're at.
Great. And then were there any other announcements or anything? I'm glad we're here working together like this, just like the days in Toronto. It's kind of nice. Thank you for all your contributions here. I think we're going to have the 4 great vows. We did. Oh, and then I think we might be all set.
Please Samu will make 3 vows formally. Thanks everyone for being here today. Who's here for the first time? Ah. Just one gentleman, yeah. You're welcome. It might be a little strange. If you keep coming, it gets a bit more used to it. Okay, just with all our hearts, we bring our hands palm to palm. Just feeling the intimacy of being in this present moment.
It's a church. It's quite similar. They have
Oh, yeah.
I would like to get I always been interested in philosophy and stuff. My whole life. So I'm all inherited, but it passed along.
Yeah, I Hey, back again. Good morning.
Thank you.
Hey, I know what you're doing.
Oh,
It's all about the things that stay in that.
Hey.
You'll feel so much better. She said, "I don't know how to do this." She also said, "Yellow." Oh, no problem. Okay. Nice to meet you, John.
I think I saw you yesterday. Were you here?
I did. I came out here from Plymouth too, because somebody had told me that you. So nice. Chickens. So they spoke. I had been going to Farmington Hills.
Oh.
And there is, anyways, philosophy. All one, they were very interested in trying to work with medication. Turn this off sometimes. You know, people just, very
Well,
Very nice to meet you.
Oh.
But I think old nurse things are.
Hey, John, you're coming regular. Yeah.